For me, this is a change that I think affects everybody because it sends out a profoundly important message on something which is very personal, people's sexuality.
As you can see, Jack Straw considers the equalisation of the age of consent a change that didn't just affect gay people. But it wasn't just a change he was in a position to make, it was a change he wanted to make, having argued with his headmaster at school that penalising people for their sexuality could end in tragedy.
A 14-year-old lad in my house, fearful that he was a homosexual, fearful that his father would find out, commits suicide, gasses himself in my study. It was and remains a terrible, terrible waste that this very talented young man should have been under such fear from the consequences of who he was that he took his own life. And I was so angry at the time, and I vowed that if I got an opportunity at any stage in my life to do something about that, that I would.
This was not a change that was universally popular. Its supporters felt politics was out of step, its opponents that it was a step too far, and one they'd fight.
But it was all about a horrible, right-wing, almost semi-fascist agenda to penalise people for being different. And it's very hard to explain now. Only just over a decade later, just how dreadful the climate was and how there was nervousness even in my own party when we got the chance to do something about it. People say, well, hang on, do you really want to do something about the age of consent? No, it won't look very good in the papers. Well,
not caring what the papers thought is one thing, but it didn't make the change any easier in the House. Indeed, in 1998, Jack Straw had to abandon it.
What we're not going to do is put the Crime and Disorder Bill at risk. That contains key manifesto commitments of huge importance to people across the country. So what I had to do was to do a deal with the business managers here on our side and others and said, okay, well, I will drop this, but I've got to have a cast-down guarantee that I can introduce an individual piece of legislation just about the age of consent. And then I was able to go to all the people who've been supporting it and reassure them, yes, I'm afraid we've got to make a tactical retreat here, but we're not giving up the war, and I will deliver for you, which in the end I did.
But you do lose this business a couple of times. You actually have to press a sort of parliamentary nuclear option on this.
Yes, I do, because the House of Lords is just digging in on this, refusing to acknowledge the ultimate authority of the elected House of Commons. 3 times altogether, blocking this change. So I have to use the Parliament Act, and I have to use it on the very, very last day of the parliamentary session. Otherwise, the whole thing would have been lost, and it was a very high-wire act. Anyway, we finally got it through. It was a great day.